I'm going to be unboxing, setting up, and doing a demo of the Haunted Hill Farm 2024 Smoldering Ghoul Animatronic. For everything scary, I'm GMHaunts, and welcome to a very special video because this is my first ever Halloween 2024 animatronic unboxing, setup, demo, and review video. What you're seeing in front of me is the Haunted Hill Farm 2024 Smoldering Ghoul animatronic, and you're probably wondering, how did I get my hands on a Haunted Hill Farm animatronic when it's only May? Well, last weekend was the East Coast Haunters Convention in Oaks, Pennsylvania. I actually just uploaded my full walkthrough of the show. But at the East Coast Haunters Convention, Haunted Hill Farm actually had a booth, and they were doing a giveaway for the Smoldering Ghoul animatronic. Well, earlier this week, just a couple days after the convention, I actually got the email from Haunted Hill Farm that I won the giveaway for Smoldering Ghoul, which I was super excited for. I still can't believe it that I actually won this prop. I've never won a giveaway like this, so I am super excited. Of course, Smoldering Ghoul was originally a Menards animatronic. He came out for the 2022 season, was sold at Menards, manufactured by Seasonal Visions, SVI. He then returned last year for 2023, also sold by Menards, and now this year for 2024, he is a part of the Haunted Hill Farm lineup, of course, still manufactured by SVI. Now, I believe that the Smoldering Ghoul I won was actually the exact one that was at the East Coast Haunters Convention. I'm pretty sure it is, and I'm also pretty certain that this is a sample for 2024, a sample model from SVI to Haunted Hill Farm. I can't 100% confirm that as of right now. Maybe we'll find out once we get this guy cracked open. But as you can see, he does just have a regular cardboard box with no artwork or anything like that. Again, most likely because this guy is probably a sample. Alright, so I've gotten him opened up. That box had a lot of tape on it. Thank you, Haunted Hill Farm, for packaging him so well. And as you can see, there is our very first look. Hopefully you can see in there our very first look at the pieces inside of the box for Smoldering Ghoul. Let's see what we can take out first here. I actually do notice there's this. Oh, something just came out of it. Okay, I don't want to look just yet. Ooh, look at that. It's a big version of the little postcards that were given out at East Coast Haunters to win this guy. It's like a big printout version of that. Enter to win our 7.5-foot Smoldering Ghoul in like a nice poster. Very cool. The first two pieces we have out of the box are the styrofoam legs, and it looks like the poles are actually in there. Again, this was the one from the convention, I believe, so a lot of the pieces were just taken apart. Here we have the 2 feet for Smoldering Ghoul, which these are a lot bigger than I thought they were. Kind of get these apart. As you can see, they look like they're all smoldering and fire and ash and all that. They are a plastic material, but again, a lot bigger than I thought. As you can see, they're kind of the size of my head. Those are his feet. Right here, we have one of the biggest pieces of Smoldering Ghoul. This is the rib cage, his fiery rib cage. Oh, there we go. It was upside down. It actually does have a back to it, which I didn't know. I haven't seen much about this animatronic because when he was at Menards, I don't have Menards around me. So I never have seen this guy in person other than at East Coast Haunters. But there's his rib cage. As you can see, pretty big piece. You can kind of see compared to my head there. Very, very big rib cage piece here. It's got the same texture as his feet do. Pretty cool looking. Here we have the main mechanism and the adapter. It's kind of also on there as well. As you can see, pretty big mechanism piece for Smoldering Ghoul because he is around 8 feet tall. These I'm excited to see in person. Here is one of the hands for Smoldering Ghoul. My first impression, this is actually a lot thicker plastic than I thought they were going to be. I thought these would be around the same thickness of plastic as the feet or the rib cage. This is actually a lot thicker. Oh, hopefully you can hear that. It's actually very, very nice quality. I love the sculpt of his hands. I always have loved the way his hands look. Look at how awesome that is. You can see how big they are compared to my hand. Really cool looking. Again, that same smoldering texture. Really awesome looking. Here we have probably the most important piece, Smoldering Ghoul's head. And again, this actually does have a back to it, just like the ribcage does. And again, I'll say, I did not realize like how thick plastic the head was going to be. I thought it would be like the ribcage. This is a little bit thicker, just like the hands are. Love the look of his face there. You can see the smoldering texture on there, the face form, everything like that. Very, very nice looking. And again, look at the size of this guy. A massive animatronic, again, at around 8 feet tall. You can see how big his face is. Here we have the clothing for Smoldering Ghoul, which is all in one piece. Obviously, it's got that kind of yellowy, like fire smoldering texture on it, and the creepy cloth all over it as well. You're not going to see it great right now because I'm just unpacking it, but here's his clothing. This looks to be a waist loop, or kind of like the back loop, kind of, to make it look like he's got a back. Maybe it goes up by his neck. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but it is a loop of some kind. Here we have his other hand. Again, it's just like the first hand. And then finally, the last piece in the box is, of course, his base. Not a super big base, as you can see. I will say it is a super thick metal, almost like thicker than a normal SVI base, which is nice. It's got some support in there with connections to both sides. You can see the little loops for his feet there as well. So here's his base. Okay, something I want to point out, and this isn't technically with Smoldering Ghoul, but it's really interesting. On the bubble wrap that was in the box, it actually says Sea Witch Stick, written in Sharpie. Hopefully you can see that okay on the bubble wrap. And then on the other side of the bubble wrap, it actually says pre-production. So obviously this did not originally go with this Smoldering Ghoul. Sea Witch, I'm not exactly sure what that's referring to. Maybe Lethal Lily. She was also manufactured by SVI, just like Smoldering Ghoul. This may be the bubble wrap somehow that went with Lethal Lily's pre-production sample and ended up at Haunted Hill Farm for some reason. Not exactly sure, but really interesting. Pre-production bubble wrap for some prop. First up, you're going to take the 2 lower support pulls. This is going to be a very standard SVI unboxing. These just slide right into the base here on the pulls. Hopefully the snap lock goes in there sometimes. There we go. Went in. Take the other one. This just slides in. Again, very, very standard. You're then going to take the 2 feet for Smoldering Ghoul, and it looks like for this prop specifically, they are the same foot and no different mold. So it doesn't matter which one goes on either side. You're just going to slide these right over the poles, making sure that they do go on the loops that are on the base. Next up, you're going to take the 2 upper support poles and slide these onto the lower ones with the snap locks, just like so. That one's going to go on like that. Again, sometimes the snap locks take a second, just like that one. Then you're going to take this one right here, slide it over top as well, and make sure the snap lock goes just like that. Then you're going to take these styrofoam leg pulls, put these over top the metal leg pulls, just to give him some form once you put the clothing on, just like that. Next up, you're going to slide his clothes onto the body, making sure that what you're sliding on are the leg holes and not the arms. It is a little bit confusing with Smoldering Ghoul because of the way his clothing is laid out, with there being a big hole in his chest for that ribcage piece. But you're going to take the 2 legs here and simply slide them over the legs that have the styrofoam on them. Again, very, very standard SVI prop setup here, just about like every Seasonal Visions prop is, making sure that you'll be able to see the pulls out of the clothing here so you can put the mechanism on. Next up, you're going to take one of the biggest pieces, the mechanism with the control box, and you're going to slide this with the snap locks over top of the leg pulls that we assembled before. You're then, after this, going to take the clothing and put that over, which I'll show you in a second. You're going to do these snap locks. Make sure that both of them do secure, because this guy's animation is pretty violent. He does move around kind of a lot, so you want to make sure that these are both in. Next up, you're going to take the ribcage piece that we took a look at before, and you're going to notice that there is a fork on the back of it. You're just going to take that fork and slide it right onto the fork holder that is on the mechanism piece. Once you have the clothing over the ribcage, the next step would be to slide the arms in. This one, as you can see, is his left arm, which you can tell by the way the fork is, kind of the way his arm is meant to come out so that it's facing forward. This, again, just like any other SVI prop, you're just going to slide this in. You're then going to repeat the same exact step, but for the other arm. Again, I should mention there are the wires in there that you'll end up connecting to the hand, so just make sure that the wires are accessible from the sleeve. At this point, I'm going to put one of the hands on. So again, this just slides on to the fork in the fork holder that is coming on from the arm. You're then going to plug in the wire coming from the hand to the one in the arm sleeve, matching red. It's a red and black wire, so just kind of sliding in the connector there. You're then going to have to plug in the wire in the arm to the control box. You'll do the same exact thing for the other hand, just sliding on to the fork holder, making sure the hand is connected both ways. Again, this guy does have a kind of crazy movement, so you want to make sure that all of his pieces are secure and they're not going to go flying. You can then take this piece that I didn't know what was in the beginning. It actually is, it appears to be like a neck kind of bump to make it look like he's got an arched over back. This just slides into the little holders that are kind of towards the top of his head here. Pretty standard and pretty simple for an SCI prop. And for just about the final step, you're going to take Smoldering Ghoul's head here, and then you're just going to connect it to the fork holder, very similar to the way that the hands connect. It does look like the head connection is supposed to utilize a cotter pin. Unfortunately, there was no cotter pin with this one. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I've never been a big fan of cotter pins for animatronic builds. I don't think they're 100% necessary every single time that they are used. You're going to slide the wire that is from his head into the body so you can connect it to the control box in just a second. And now from here, you're able to take Smoldering Ghoul's hood and throw it over his head. Alright, so here he is, the Haunted Hill Farm 2024 Smoldering Ghoul animatronic, assembled in all of his glory. But before I give you my thoughts on him, let's take a look at the demos. Alright, so you just saw the demos for my Haunted Hill Farm 2024 Smoldering Ghoul animatronic, and overall, I think this guy is an awesome animatronic. Like I said in the beginning, this guy was originally a Menards animatronic, sold at Menards for 2022 and 2023, and I don't have Menards anywhere around me, so I never saw this guy in person until last weekend at the East Coast Haunters convention. That being said, he is obviously a massive animatronic. I mean, take a look at how big he is next to me. He is around 7.5 feet tall. I said in the beginning that I thought he would be closer to 8. However, I do think he's more around 7.5 feet just because I have some 8-foot animatronics. I don't think he's quite that tall, but still massive prop, and also his wingspan is very big as well. I really like the concept of this guy and the fact that he's kind of like a smoldering monster who comes from like the depths of hell, because we really don't get a lot of animatronics like that look like they're made of lava. I also think that the LED effects in the ribcage, the face, and the hands sell that idea also very, very well, because they just really create that idea of lava and fire within this animatronic. I also like his audio. He has multiple different laughing tracks. So glad that he does not speak or say any phrases, like spoken phrases. He just has maniacal laughing in probably 4 or 5, I believe, different laughing tracks, which is great because it creates some variation each time you turn him on. I also love the animation that this guy has, because for him being such a massive animatronic, the animation is pretty jarring and pretty impressive, with him leaning forward, the face kind of looking forward, and then him leaning backward. I think that it's more impressive because of the fact that he's so big, and while the animation isn't like so innovative or so crazy, I think it's just awesome because that he's 7.5 feet tall, and when you turn him on, you don't expect him to do something like he actually does. His quality is pretty decent. I'm not going to say it's the best thing I've ever seen. It's basically just a Seasonal Visions prop, and I'll kind of leave it at that. I will say I wish the ribcage was a little bit thicker plastic, and I also wish that there was more Velcro along the ribcage, kind of in these spots here. Obviously, you could add that on yourself. Just get a Velcro strip and kind of hot glue it on there, and then on the clothes, because as you can see, sometimes you do get openings where you can see into the mech, and I kind of wish it'd be covered up more like that, almost even if the Velcro was just higher, so it was more like that, just so it could be covered up a little bit more. It's a simple thing. You could do it yourself, and it's definitely not the biggest problem in the world. So overall, obviously, I am so excited that I won this giveaway from Haunted Hill Farm, and I am still shocked that I won this giveaway because it really was a surprise when I got the email a couple days after I got back from East Coast Hunters Convention, and I am so grateful to be adding this prop to my collection because, like I said, I have no Menards around me and never had the chance to buy him in 2022 or 2023. So obviously, a huge thank you out to Haunted Hill Farm for running this giveaway and giving us the chance to picking up the Smoldering Ghoul for 2024 season. And I am so excited for what Haunted Hill Farm is releasing for the rest of their lineup for 2024. So many amazing animatronics, and I am very much crossing my fingers that I will have some unboxings of those animatronics coming very soon right here on the GMHaunts YouTube channel. But I guess, remember as always, for everything scary, I'm GMHaunts. I'll just get later for more Halloween 2024 animatronic unboxings. Goodbye.